Thanks, Andy. And it's so great to be here, and I'm so proud to be here 3 years into our journey as founders and having helped to build this movement and this ecosystem and this community of customers and employees. We're very proud to be here. So Andy talked about safety, stability, and security, and I'd like to double-click on each of those three things, because one can't scale in digital transformation at enterprises. One can't scale deployments of wearable computers. One can't scale productivity without some foundational things in place, these three things. So let's take these one at a time. Safety. So Andy talked a bit about safety. It's not only ergonomics. It's not only the correct human factors. There's really a trade-off between safety and productivity in most devices that are used by frontline workers in industry. And so let's look at this trade-off. Generally speaking, depending on your industry, the more productivity you want, the more safety you might have to trade. So if you're in nuclear power, you might say, I can have a pretty unproductive process that has multiple checks and balances and multiple people and multiple kind of lockouts in order to guarantee safety, but I'll work a little slower as a result. Oil and gas may be somewhere in the middle of that curve, and maybe if you're in a supermarket stocking shelves, it's less dangerous, so you might trade off some more productivity for safety. Most of the technology in the world that we live in for frontline workers sits on this curve. There is a trade-off. Now, mixed reality is a wonderful technology, and all of us love it because it's just so amazing as to how you can kind of position 3D objects in the world as holographic elements and look at them and interact with them. But what you're doing when you do that is you're staying on the curve. The curve is more productivity, blocking peripheral vision, blocking a certain amount of your ability to see the world through darkened glass, maybe some cables, other things you have to do. You stay on that curve. What we like to think of industrial assisted reality makes a different trade-off. It says, let's not compromise safety. Let's keep everything available. Let's make sure it's super easy to use and actually enhances safety and productivity at the same time. So everything we do at RealWear is orientated around this enhancement of safety, not this reduction of safety. And you'll see this as you go through the day and the demos and many of the use cases and customer testimonials that you'll hear. Stability. Well, industrial enterprises take a while, we've learned, and so has most of the industry, to deploy things. So we have committed to a 3-year hardware product cycle. That means that when we ship a product, it will be available for 3 years for you to buy, and then it will be supported for 2 years beyond that. That's a 5-year cycle in total. So as you start to scale out deployments at large multinational global companies, it needs to be around for a while, right? Unlike the consumer business where you want a new phone every 12 months. Because you build processes and training and many things around that, and integration. HMT-1 was launched October 2017, and the HMT-1Z1, our intrinsically safe model, was launched in June 2018. So we are mid-cycle on these products. We still have a ways to go. In fact, we're continuing to invest. We spent more than $4 million of software engineering investment alone on the existing products to bring you Release 10, our Android 8.1 upgrade. We started with Android 6, Android 8.1. These things cost real R&D to do on existing hardware, and it's a commitment to continuing to support the hardware that's in the field over a very valuable and useful industrial life cycle, not a consumer cycle. So that means that you can use these products with confidence through the end of 2022. That's the 5 years from when we started, more or less. Now, are we working on new hardware? Yes, we are. It's super cool, and we're not going to talk about it today. But as we get close to it, it'll be exciting. But what I want to say is whatever we do, we're going to support it through the life cycle so that you can deploy with confidence, and we're going to protect you from premature obsolescence in the industry. Security. Very proud of all the progress we've made on security. Security is a journey, clearly. Nobody has perfect security, nobody in the world. It's about a commitment to the process and the principles and the practices of security. So since we started, we've made some big steps. We brought out our Release 10, which upgraded to Android 8.1, a much more secure version of Android than the one we started with Android 6. We actually shipped Android 8.1 wearables before Google did. Google Glass Enterprise Edition version 2 was announced a week ago, uses Android 8.1 AOSP, open source Android, same as we shipped in March, right? So that is the high watermark for Android-based wearables in terms of security today. And the security patch level and the ability to continue to update that is superior to what came before. We will be doing approximately quarterly security patches during the life cycle of the product. So that means that we're going to keep up with everything that comes out on Android, that comes out from Qualcomm, and we're going to keep on roughly every quarter issue the latest patches so that you can be confident that your industrial operations can be secure. Now, we also hired Patrick Neise, Doctor of Engineering, as our Chief Information Security Officer, and I'd like to have Patrick come up and join me here. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Sanjay.
Patrick joined us 2-3 months ago now, and Patrick's had a number of very prestigious positions over his career, but the one I'd like to draw attention to was his time at the National Security Agency as Director of Red Team Operations. Now, that sounds super impressive, and the NSA is really secretive, and there's a lot of things he's not allowed to talk about, actually.
Yeah,
but Patrick, what is the NSA Red Team? What does it do?
Okay, perfect question. But let me ask the audience a question real quick. How many either have in your organizations internal red teams or have been subject of an external red team or penetration test evaluation? Just quick show of hands. Anybody? So maybe 10%. Right, so the red team, specifically the NSA red team, it's a group of about 100 soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and some government civilians. And we were basically charged with going out and looking into U.S. government networks, Department of Defense networks, being that proactive, using the same tactics and techniques as the adversaries that are running around today. Everybody, I think, sees every other day in the news some other organization got hacked. We're there to be the proactive arm to go out and find those issues and those vulnerabilities, and more importantly, have the organization fix those things before it becomes an issue, before somebody else finds it. The team's been around for about 20 years, and I can say, knock on wood, whether good or bad, we never failed at actually breaking into some of the networks across the U.S. government, across the globe. So bringing that experience into where we're that adversarial mindset to take that proactive approach to how we're approaching security going forward.
Patrick also has a leadership role in architecting our cloud, RealWear Foresight, that we're going to talk more about. And I guess it's true to say that some of the security challenges you see in industrial wearables are worthy of the type of experience you have.
Right, exactly. I had 25-ish years as an active duty officer, as well as a government contractor for ships, submarines, planes. We're talking a lot of systems that were built, designed in the 80s, some of them older, mostly in the 90s. But the opportunity to come and take a look at, as Andy alluded to earlier, a brand new industry vertical, getting into industrial wearables, being able to lay that bedrock foundation of doing this right from the beginning, as opposed to letting it go for 30 years and realizing we need to add security to it now. So being able to come in on the ground floor and get that established so we can start to move things faster and get those deployments done a lot quicker is
great to have him. Thanks so much, Patrick.
Thanks.
Another aspect of security is really about where you store your data. Some of the things we're going to show you today in a little bit will be how we can natively get data to and from the HMT-1, not from our cloud, but from your cloud, the place where you store your enterprise data. We're going to show you some integration with Microsoft SharePoint as a first example of that. That means that the key data, photos, videos, documents, other things that the HMT is good at doing will be natively stored securely in the cloud, and that requires authentication and single sign-on to those infrastructures. So this foundation of safety, security, and stability is required before you can accelerate. Let's say you love acceleration. Let's say you just went out and bought a sports car. Let's say you went out and you bought the Porsche 911 Turbo. Wonderful car, accelerates super fast. You would not go into the highway or into a racetrack and put your foot down and accelerate unless you were sure that it was safe, secure, and stable. When you have that confidence, you can practice acceleration and you won't get yourself into trouble. That's what we're here to do. So we lay this foundation, we go to acceleration. One of our key platforms for acceleration is RealWear Foresight, our cloud system. Today, it's in in the market with 220 customers on it already, one customer per day that was added since we launched it. And it mostly focuses on managing users, device, and groups, and pushing apps and solutions to it with zero touch, so it's very easy to deploy and very easy to keep applications and devices up to date without having to train IT departments all over the world. Now, as we go forward, you're going to hear about three things. Agility. Foresight allows us to update components in our device and software on our device without a full firmware update, just using the application, the APK Android level components. We can not only push other people's apps out, we can update our own capability, and you'll see some new capabilities that let us deliver very fast and efficiently and quickly, respond in short amount of time to specific market and customer needs. Secondly, we're going to talk about contextualization and synchronization of data. Capturing data, tagging it, storing it in the cloud of your choice. And we're going to show you a live demo of that. And we're going to talk about configurability. When you get these things out to your users at scales, you probably want to only have them use the functionality that they're supposed to use and not be messing around with Android settings or other apps, because this isn't a personal device. It's a corporate liable device. And we're going to show you some examples of how you can set up and lock down these devices remotely all out of Foresight. Key to this is authentication. I'm going to just kind of cover this quickly. There's two forms of authentication that are important. Device authentication, PIN number, sign into your device. We have PIN numbers today, serial number authentication. We're moving to multi-factor and biometric authentication out of Foresight to let you sign into the device. Then you have to sign into your apps. User IDs and passwords work perfectly well. On a hands-free device, they may not be the best way to enter credentials. QR codes are great too. But we're moving towards federation with Office 365 and Azure Active Directory, so you can sign in with your corporate account. And these are the two swim lanes for authentication. They will get unified in Foresight through the use of a platform from Okta, the world's leading identity provider, which is going to be embedded inside RealWear Foresight. And in the very near future, we'll be able to do single sign-on to your corporate data and your device with corporate credentials using Okta in the cloud. This is an open platform. We're not here to block anybody else's solution or any other way of doing this. Everybody is welcome. In fact, we're going to expose these things through microservices so other people can build on them. Some of the things you'll see here today will be available as APIs and microservices to build your corporate solutions, or our partners can use them to build their own cloud-based solutions. This is a level playing field. We're not picking favorites. We're trying to make things, we're trying to accelerate time to value by putting more things in the platform that let you take over the basics well so we can innovate on top of that. So you should partner with us. And as we think about this next little section, think about how you could use this in partnership with us. So now I'd like to introduce Vice President of Product Management, key member of my team and the company, Tom Delente, and Senior Product Manager, John Lynn.